Coming up in this episode, Fainu convicted and sentenced. Nene McDonald moves to Leeds Rhinos, but is not the only one to leave Leigh. And Rob Burrow becomes the first non-verbal reader of BBC bedtime stories. Hello once again and welcome back to the channel. Dominant Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to continue seeing more. And we start today with the story that seems to be concluded that we've followed throughout the off-season and season, with former NRL rising star Manase Fainu, who has been jailed for at least 4 years and 3 months after being found guilty of stabbing a youth leader during a violent and bloody brawl outside a Mormon church. Fainu learned his fate on Friday afternoon inside a Parramatta District Court as he was sentenced by Judge Nanette Williams. Once considered one of rugby league's brightest prospects, the former Manly hooker's NRL career was almost certainly over, having not played since his arrest in October 2019. His lawyers have already flagged their intentions to appeal the sentence, but a jury earlier this year took only a few hours, to find Fainu, 24, guilty of one count of wounding a person with the intent of grievous bodily harm. He pled not guilty at the trial, but a jury found that he had plunged a steak knife in the back of Faamanu Levi at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at Wattle Grove in southwestern Sydney on the evening of October 25th, 2019. The maximum penalty for the charge is 25 years in prison. And on Friday, Judge Williams sentenced Fainu to 8 years in jail with a non-parole period for 4 years and 3 months. With time served, he will be eligible for release in October 2026. His solicitor, Paul McGeer, previously said the wheels are in motion for an appeal. Mr. McGeer said that he would not launch proceedings in a court of criminal appeal until Fainu had been sentenced. The jury accepted the Crown prosecution's argument that Fainu stabbed Mr. Levi in the back near his shoulder blade during the brawl, which would involve 4 of his mates against another group of men. One eyewitness, Tony Quach, told the court he had seen Fainu stab Mr. Levi, puncturing his lung and causing internal bleeding. The offender, who was observed to have an angry look on his face, used a steak knife and plunged it into the victim. Judge Williams recounted of Mr. Quatch's testimony. Reportedly, the former NRL star then slashed the knife in an upwards motion towards the victim's face to cause a deep cut above his eyebrow, the court heard. Mr. Quatch testified that Fainu had one arm in a sling, while the other hand held a steak knife, which he used to stab Mr. Levi in a church parking area. It was not contested during the trial that Fainu had his arm in a sling after undergoing surgery just a month earlier, and he was in the car park as well. However, Fainu denied playing any part in the brawl, claiming he began to backpedaling because of the fear of his safety when he heard someone shout, "Knife! Knife!" The court was told earlier in the evening that 2 of Fainu's friends, including Onoa Big Book Fengaya, which were involved in an altercation on the church hall dance floor and were escorted out. Fainu said he voluntarily left the church grounds, apologising to the security guard on his way out of the gate. CCTV footage showed that Fainu and 4 of his mates were pulling up to an adjoining Coles car park and jumping back into the church's ground, using a fire hydrant to boost themselves over a tall brick wall to get into the parking area. Fainu climbed the fence despite having his arm in the sling, telling the jury he could have walked back in the front. Telling the jury that he could have walked back in the front gate. The reason Fainu put to the jury for going back to the car park with Faingar was to collect money owed from a man for a concreting job. He gave evidence that he told his friends he would go inside to collect the money by himself, but they followed him over the fence and before a brawl erupted short time later. The jury ultimately accepted the prosecution's version of the events that Fainu had ended the brawl when he stabbed Mr. Levi. In court, a letter was read out by the victim explaining the brutal attack will have changed his life forever. Here is a picture of Mr. Faamanu Levi. The events of the night will stay with me my whole life, he wrote. I now find myself guarded and scared. The fact that this attack took place at a church event made me realise nowhere is safe. Mr. Levi said he was trying to do the right thing by breaking up the fight inside the church hall, but he had been rewarded with a knife in the back. He said the attack had left him unable to pursue his dream of becoming a police officer due to lingering health issues and constant concern about being assaulted. He said while watching it back in his mind, he lives in fear that he will be attacked again, he told the court. All I have left is hope in God, told Mr. Levi once more. Despite the pain and fear, Mr. Levi said he felt sorry for Fainu and said he would pray for him. The stabbing cut Fainu's career short at the time when legendary former Manly Seagulls coach Ted Lasler said the hooker had the world at his feet. So while Nene McDonald has left the Centurions to join Leeds Rhinos, there is news that Blake Ferguson has left Leeds Leopards as well ahead of the 2023 season. First of all, McDonald, the 28 Papua New Guinea international, will join up with Leeds Rhinos with immediate effect and is reunited with the Rhinos head coach Rowan Smith, who coached him at North Devils in the Queensland Cup competition in Australia. McDonald started all 4 games for Papua New Guinea at the recent Rugby League World Cup, the 3rd World Cup of his career already. Having helped lead to promotion last season from the Championship into the Super League, he got that call up once again. He scored a remarkable 27 tries in 27 appearances for Leopards last season, joining the club from North Devils, having helped Rowan Smith's old club to grand final glory in 2021. He played nearly 100 games in the NRL with Sydney, Gold Coast and St George Illawarra Dragons, as well as North Queensland and Cronulla. Plus, he represented Queensland at the under-20 level. McDonald will team up with countryman Reece Martin at the Rhinos, having taken part in the Cummel's progress to the World Cup quarter-finals, and commenting on signing, Leeds Rhinos head coach said, I am delighted to bring Nene to the Rhinos. He's a big physical player who can play either at centre or on the wing. He can break tackles and offload the ball to keep the team on the front foot. He's maturing in life and his rugby, and I know his young family have really settled well into life in the UK over the last year. I think his best years are ahead of him, and I'm looking forward to seeing how him develop even further at the Rhinos. After months of umming and ahhing and looking forward to joining up with the Rhinos, McDonald said, I'm very excited and I can't wait to join up with the Rhinos. This is why you play the game, for the chance to be at the top level and really test myself, especially with a great team like the Rhinos. Joining up with Rowan again was a big part of me coming to Leeds. He backed me when I needed somewhere to go when he signed me for the Devils, and we won the Championship together. if he wanted me, I was keen to jump on board. I was talking to Reese Martin a lot when we were in camp with the Papua New Guinea side, and he was so positive about the club. He has always been a big influence on my career. We played alongside each other in the under-20s at the Roosters, and I have always looked up to him. He's a good bloke, and I trust his advice. Likewise, Paul Ayton told me if Leeds Rhinos offer me a chance, that I'd have to take it with both hands. He loved his time at Headingley, and he said his only regret was he didn't stay longer. Still had point to call on what his former club did for him. I'm really grateful to Leigh for the opportunity they gave me last year. I was pleased I could play my part in helping them return to Super League. My wife and son love it over here, and it was definitely a good decision to come over. I can't wait to put the Rhinos jumper on. I've heard about how crazy the fans are, and I'm really excited to be playing in front of big crowds because you don't get that sort of passion over in Australia, added McDonald. While the loss of Nene McDonald is a big one, they've been able to, the Leigh Leopards that is, have been able to mitigate that loss by signing form centre for 2022, Ricky Lilitelli, on a contract for the 2023 season, which has been a good piece of business for the Leopards. But now reports are emerging that their former Australia international Blake Ferguson will return to Australia on compassionate grounds. Rugby League Live understands that the former Australian international is due to return down under, and while Ferguson, who joined Leigh midway through the year to aid with their quest to the Super League, it would be a loss as they provided a valuable asset as he scored an impressive 21 tries in 17 matches for the Leopards, the Centurions, aiding them to an 1895 Cup and £1 million game glory. However, he is now set to return home in what is considered to be a blow for Adrian Lamb and his squad as they prepare for the Super League return. Leigh have yet to comment on that matter. The 32-year-old Ferguson was set to be a key player given his exploits at the top of the game. An Australian and State of Origin representative, he won the 2019 series with New South Wales and was an NRL champion with the Sydney Roosters. But now Leigh Leopards preparations will have to go on without him, as there seems to be the inclination that he is about to go home. They have brought their figures down, this being the Leigh Leopards, to 7 quota players, overseas quota players, and this made sure that Ferguson was one of them to be involved in the squad. What that means for the club, we don't know, but there are an abundance of rugby league players out there that are out of contract, and if this report is correct, they can sign anyone from anywhere in the world, as long as they don't break the salary cap. And finally, this cool dude here is going to be part of a double whammy, as Rob Burrows will read the BBC's Bedtime story on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Former rugby league player Burrow, who uses a computer to talk after being diagnosed with motor neuron disease, will make history when he reads the BBC's Bedtime story using special technology. BBC's Bedtime story is a programme on, obviously, the BBC that has celebrities and people with stature in many different aspects of life read bedtime stories for children as their time to go to bed draws near, obviously. And lots of famous people have been involved in reading on the show. The Leeds Rhinos and Great Britain scrum half, who is now 40, will read Tom Percival's Tilda Tries Again, about a girl who suddenly finds her world changed and things that were once easy more challenging, on a story which has more prevalence on what is called International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Rob's reading a book that tells the tale of Tilda, who finds a new way of approaching her problems and belief in ourselves. It will be the first time that the BBC's children's story show will have a story using the special eye-controlled gear, which is able to recreate a version of Burrow's Yorkshire accent. Rob proved that he was humbled and delighted to be able to be invited onto this show. As he said, "I used to love reading to my own children as part of their bedtime routine. I was so excited and honoured to be given the opportunity to read a BBC bedtime story." Reading and literacy are so important. It doesn't matter what your disability is, reading is accessible to everyone. Anyone can enjoy reading and develop a love for books and bedtime stories, just like me and my family. Rob was accompanied into the BBC CBeebies studio by his wife Lindsay and two of the pair's children, Maya, who's 7, and Jackson, who is now 3. The youngsters directed their father from the TV gallery, saying, "Remember to smile, Daddy," and counting down the clock before they shouted action when the camera started rolling. Every now and again I'm shocked by people's generosity and acknowledgement for people in different situations. The BBC doing this, offering this opportunity to Rob, it's the onions, I promise you. Rob has also become the latest sports star to be invited to the CBeebies station to read the bedtime story, following in the footsteps of England soccer captain Harry Kane and Olympic gold medalist Jessica Ennis-Hill, who read the stories in the past. There are also international stars that have been involved in this, with Marvel star Chris Evans, author and film star Rob Delaney, Tom Hardy was also a reader on this, and then people of rock with Josh Homme of the Queens of the Stone Age and Dave Grohl also reading. Also Tom Hiddleston, again another film star and TV star, has read these stories too. So it's great that he joins the ranks of people who've done all that. Scientist Brian Cox was on there. I can read all the names because they're all read by people that love kids and have stories to tell themselves. So yeah, it's a nice little thing, and need that sometimes, just to hear them little stories. I'm a little bit shaken by this, and tears in my eyes and everything like that, so nice. Needed that. Rob's edition of the CBeebies bedtime stories will be available on CBeebies channel and the BBC iPlayer, and played live from 10 to 7, 6:50 PM on Saturday the 3rd of December, so tomorrow night. If you have kids, want them to listen to a bedtime story, young enough, let Rob read it to them, or any other of the people that are available on the iPlayer. And that's it for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, as well as clicking on that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming in the near future. Tell me what your thoughts are on the episode in the comment section below. I know I'm humbled by the BBC story, but tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section. Please be respectful. It's open for business. That's the only rule, just be respectful. Ask me anything about rugby league if you want. I'll try to answer and see where we go from there. I'm giving a consideration of having some days off soon, due to the off season, and gives us a bit of time, a bit of a break, and for stories to come up. But rugby league still brings up stories, so I'm very, very happy about that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. I'll end the episode as I always do by wishing you all the very best. So please stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.